The United Kingdom and Poland are economic opposites in almost every way. One's booming while the other has arguably been the worst performing large economy in the developed world for the last 40 years. But what happened? What policies led to such a dramatic reversal of fortunes for these two countries? And what could just be the ace up the UK's sleeve to turn itself around? While people on the left and right will have opposing ideas about where the trajectory changed, Britain hasn't been radically overhauled since Margaret Thatcher. Thatcher's neoliberalism transformed Britain from a country of makers to a country of finance and property speculators. London became the greatest financial centre in the world, alongside New York. But owning assets became more rewarding than producing stuff. Poland couldn't be more different. After the fall of the Iron Curtain, the country went through a period of financial shock therapy in the early 1990s, before things really fired up when Poland joined the EU in 2004. Companies moved in to take advantage of a well-educated and cost-effective workforce on Germany's doorstep. The result? Polish GDP per capita surged as aggregate demand rose. Being the continent's biggest net recipient of EU funds massively helped too, with money poured into infrastructure and education, setting Poland up for the future. Meanwhile, England got ballooning tuition fees and high speed 2, a project that may have had potential investors in the UK, booking the next flight to Warsaw. Buy-to-lets are now the most common type of limited company registered in the UK. One could debate whether this was the entrepreneurial dynamism Thatcher was thinking about when talking business with Ronald Reagan. But while America was turbocharging Silicon Valley, Britain was being crippled by underinvestment in R&D, skills and management. But there were good times. Keynesianism and Clement Attlee briefly changed the tune after World War II by taxing the rich enough to set up a productive economy and the NHS. But the honeymoon just couldn't last. British unions were often confrontational, as they didn't enjoy the social partnership framework of their European counterparts. This, coupled with two huge global oil supply shocks in the 1970s, led to inflation, and capitalists were increasingly dismayed with worker power, eating into returns and their control, leading to an investment revolt and a conservative government. Thatcher privatised, crushed unions, and deregulated the night away. Even England's water wasn't safe, as public utilities became private monopolies. UK talent and wealth was drawn to London like never before. With the entrepreneurs unleashed, New Labour kept the same music playing until the crash in 2008, when deregulation came home to roost and the British taxpayer was needed to bail out the banks. So when David Cameron entered Downing Street in 2010, he had the chance to build and invest in Britain's productivity as interest rates plummeted faster than Keir Starmer's approval ratings. So what did Cameron do? Cuts, massive cuts, egged on by much of the media who said there was no other option. Poland would disagree. Even America would disagree, a place that still conflates public services with communism. The US passed a huge stimulus package, while the Tories closed youth centres and libraries. Why does that Oscar Wilde quote about knowing the price of everything but the value of nothing suddenly come to mind? But Britain wasn't an outlier. The Eurozone also went for cuts at the time. After being almost equal in GDP per capita in 2008, in PPP terms, the US has motored ahead of the UK and Europe as of 2025. Investing helps, austerity doesn't. Unlike Scotland and Northern Ireland, England and Wales voted for Brexit and sovereignty. This was to take back control and to allow Westminster, which had overseen skyrocketing poverty and homelessness, to have more control over the country, not less. Britain went through PM after PM as a hard Brexit was imposed, meaning no British membership of the single market or customs union. The uncertainty scared off potential investment, and many businesses thought, screw this, and moved to the continent. While Britain crippled its economy, Poland was gorging itself on EU investment. I mean, you can almost picture them doing snow angels in all those funds. Poland always had a long-term plan, while high borrowing costs and the reluctance to tax wealth and land now cripple the UK's ability to reinvent itself. Britain is a very socially progressive country, even though it's now behind its Northern European peers. Poland, though, is deeply conservative, especially in relation to abortion, LGBT rights, and the rule of law. And it has often been warned by the EU to sort itself out. And it has had EU funds delayed over concerns about judicial independence. But economically, it's a juggernaut. European integration and an infrastructure building binge set up a productive and resilient Polish economy. Investment in people and skills went up. Exports took off. Wages grew. Poverty fell. And the vodka flowed. Polish elites got rich by innovating and producing, not inheriting. They also get free uni. Poland was a European outlier after the global financial crisis, as it chose stimulus rather than austerity. The result? Poland is arguably Europe's best economy in 2025, and is expected to surpass British GDP per capita in PPP terms at some point around 2035. While in neoliberal England, kids are getting shorter as billionaire wealth soars. But there is some good news for Britain, and it's not more of that Singapore on the Thames nonsense. Unlike most European countries, the UK has vast maritime territory and the North Sea, one of the windiest places in the world. This, coupled with its huge tidal fluctuations, mean the country is a potential renewable superpower. This would reduce its reliance on imported gas, the reason the country has such high energy bills. And before someone says the wind doesn't always blow, well, the tide comes in every day without fail. But Britain also has significant soft power around the world. English is the global language, which would really piss off William the Conqueror. And its universities and creativity are still world class. It's a country that does crucial work in medicine and punches well above its weight culturally. And if nothing else, Poland's GDP will also overtake France at some point too. So it's not all bad news for Britain. Let me know if you think I've missed anything off here. Have I been too soft on the British media's role in all this? And do you think the next election will be a battle between Corbyn's new party and Reform, rather than the Tories and Labour? Thanks very much for watching.